everybody, Moarhammer here. I've got another battle report for you, and this is another pretty good one. We are playing once again the city of the Cursed City battle plan, and with my Nurgle against vampire counts. It's a very interesting one, but I don't want to spoil anything for you, so we'll jump right into it right after the army breakdown. So here's a picture of deployment, and as you can see, I am the defender this time, and my opponent is the attacker. I have I have to deploy everything within an 18-inch bubble of a point of the centre of the board edge, and then he can deploy anywhere within 9 inches away from me, and he will then choose who goes first and who goes second, which essentially means he deploys 9 inches away from me and will choose to go first, because that's how it works. So the armies are my army starting on the far left, going around my kind of little box bubble wrap type thing clockwise. I've got 6 Nurglings, Morbidex Twiceborn, a Sorcerer Lord, a Lord of Chaos, 10 Chaos Warriors, a Harbinger of Decay in the centre there. We've got 15 Ungor, 3 Beasts of Nurgle, 20 Plague Bearers, and 10 Gore at the bottom there. Now I went for quite a heavy infantry list, and the reason is because this battle plan requires you to kill numbers of models of your opponent. I kind of wanted to really buff out the numbers I had. So he'd come in, he'd hit me, he'd kill a bunch, and then I could hit back exactly where I needed to be really hard and do the job I needed to do. That was kind of my plan. Then on his side, I'm starting on the left again, going clockwise round. He's got a big unit of 30 skeletons, which are next to a White King with Axe and a White King with Infernal Standard. Then he's got a unit of 15 Graveguard. Then that building in the middle, behind that are 3 Vargulf. There's also a Vampire Lord there. And to the right of them, he's got a Vargeist. Yep, a Vargeist. A Banshee, a Karnwraith, and just on that rocky outcrop he has a Moarhammer, which I was pretty scared of, but we'll see how that goes. So, as I explained, the aim of the game is to kill numbers of models, so he has to kill 3/4 of mine, and I have to kill 1/2 of his. So my threshold was about 27, I believe. I had to kill 27 models, which was actually less than that entire unit of skeletons, so I was quite hopeful I might be able to just deal with all of those skeletons as one, which would be ideal. He's also got to kill about, I think my threshold was about 57, so much, much higher, because I had so many more models than him. So it was much higher, much more difficult for him to get to. So my plan at the moment was I was going to let him come in, he was going to charge probably with as much as he could, and then I was going to buff up Morbidex, the Warriors, the Lord of Chaos, and whatever I could as much as possible, and slam them right into the skeletons and take them off, ignoring the Moarhammer completely, because I don't like those things. So, as I explained, he went first, so he comes in like this. The main things to note are he just moves up everything pretty much as far as he can. The Moarhammer's coming into the Plague Bearers, so is the Karnwraith, the Vargeist and the Vampire Lord in the middle, and the Graveguard and the skeletons on the left-hand side. He didn't move the skeletons as fast as he could have, because I think he knows that if they get wiped out, he's in for a shock. So there's very little shooting that happens. I think his Tomb Banshee does try to scream at somebody, but doesn't do anything, and so he charges in. His White King with the Axe makes into the Warriors, as does the 15 Graveguard and the Vampire Lord and the Vargeist, which is a bit scary. And then against the Plague Bearers, his Moarhammer and Karnwraith came in, so there was that, but I knew I just had to tie them down. So as units to tying things down goes, Plague Bearers are pretty good at it, so I was quite happy about that. So he does decide to go with the Moarhammer first, and he actually rolls terribly because he's at -1 to hit, and he just fluffs his rolls, and I roll really well on my disgustingly resilience. He only kills 2, which is fantastic. So I attack with my warriors next. They all pile in, and they don't do very well. They put a single wound on the White King and kill a single Graveguard, which just isn't good enough. But hey ho. So then he attacks back, I believe, straight away with his White King, and is able to knock off 2 warriors instantly, which is a bit scary. So then I pile in with my Plague Bearers around these guys to try and take some wounds off the Khan Wraith maybe. I don't really have much better to do. But I don't really do anything. I think I wound the Khan Wraith maybe, but I don't really do anything worthwhile. So then he attacks with his Graveguard, and is able to kill another 2 Chaos Warriors, which, again, I'm losing them fast, but I kind of expected that to happen. So then I pile in with my Ungor. They can pile in 4 inches because they've got a musician, so they pile in around this and attack mostly the Vampire Lord, just try and take her down a couple of wounds. And I'll do stick a wound on it, which is not too bad. Maybe even 2 wounds, actually. Yeah, they're alright, considering they're just small goat people. Then he attacks back with his... I think the Vampire Lord attacks straight back and kills 4 Ungor, which was just sad. And then the thing is, Vargeist attacks the Chaos Warriors and is able to kill another 2. So they're really lowering their number now, it's not looking good for them. Then the Khan Wraith attacks and manages to do better than the Moarhammer and plinks off 3 more Plague Bearers, which is scary. So but they've only lost 5, that could have been a lot worse, so that's not too bad. So with that being the end of his turn, the tally there is I've killed 1 model, just that single Graveguard, and he's killed about 10 or 11, which isn't too bad, considering that was his massive offensive phase. It wasn't too much of a problem. And considering how high my threshold is as well. So, as we move on to his turn, my turn, sorry, I pretty much flee with a whole bunch of my stuff. My Ungor flee, my Chaos Warriors flee, leaving that unit of Graveguard, the Vargulf and his Vampire Lord completely doing nothing, and the White King, so that's fantastic. I do keep my Plague Bearers where they are, because I want to keep those things tied down. The main thing I do, I put Demonic Power, Mystic Shield onto Morbidex. So now he's hopefully a bit of a killing machine. I use the command ability from the Harbinger of Decay, and other than that, I just kind of move around a little bit. The beasts come charging forward around the back, so hopefully in this combat I can get the Lord of Chaos, Morbidex, the Nurglings, and the Beasts of Chaos all into that unit of skeletons, which should, in theory, be enough to crush them, which would be great. So I start off by using my Morbidex's tongue attack, and I target the Graveguard, and I think I kill 1 or 2, which is fantastic. But then with nothing else happening in the shooting phase, we go straight into the charge phase. And here it looks like this. The Lord of Chaos did fail to make it into the skeletons, but he does make it into the White King that's on by the Graveguard. I also hit them with my Nurglings and my Beasts of Nurgle, so fingers crossed that should be enough to do the job. So here's the Lord of Chaos going into the White King. And unsurprisingly, I decided to attack with Morbidex first, and he does really well with hitting on 3s, winning on 3s, reroll all my 1s. He does very nicely and manages to knock off a total of 9 skeletons, which is, I'm very happy about that. So that's a decent chunk. That's a third, in fact, of my threshold down. So fantastic. Then he piles in straight away with the skeletons, but hopefully trying to lower the amount of damage that I can put out to him. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't do too great. He puts 2 wounds onto a beast, 1 wound onto Morbidex, and nothing onto the Nurglings at all. So I decided to attack with my Lord of Chaos next, and I pull a bit of a fast one actually. Instead of attacking the White King, because I've got a 2-inch range Demon Blade, I lean over and attack the Graveguard, and the Lord of Chaos has a special attack that he can use once per game, and it changes his main weapon from damage 2 to damage 2d6, but only 1 attack rather than 3. So I was figuring if I hit the Graveguard with that and roll well, or just roll okay on that 2d6, it's going to really ruin his day. I hit him, I fail to wound him, I roll a 1. And we're like, oh, that's rubbish, and we carry on. And a couple of seconds later I realise that he's Nurgle, so he can re-roll wound rolls of a 1. So I re-roll the 1, And I rolled another 1. Oh, it was sad. It would have been such a great little curveball just to lean over the White King and smack 7 or 8 Graveguard off their feet. It would have been wonderful. But you can't win them all, so there you go. He does attack right back with his White King against my Lord of Chaos, and is able to blink 3 wounds off. He does really well. So that's a shame. But hey ho. So I attack with my Plague Bearers next. I don't do too badly. I put a single wound onto the Nurgle, which is more than I was expecting to do. So yay. Unfortunately, then he attacks straight back and murders like 8 or 9 of them. It was brutal. He really just rolled out of the box, and I just totally fluffed my rolls. So that was very sad and very hurting. So there you go. Then I decided to pile with my beasts. They slam in here, and are able to murder another 5 skeletons, which is not too bad at all. And then he attacks with one of his White Kings over here, the one with the Infernal Standard, and is able to put a single wound onto Morbidex. And then I pile him with my Nurgling bases, and I'm able to kill another 3 skeletons. So far it's a total of 17 skeletons I've killed out of that unit. Then we go over here, and the Gravecard pile in, and are able to murder that Lord of Chaos, and serves him right for being a chump. And then the Khan Wraith attacks and murders the remaining 4 more Plague Bearers. There's only 3 of those left. So we go to Battle Shock, and the Plague Bearers, because they lost about 13 or 14 models this turn, they pop very easily. I think if even for 1, they would have all popped, so that was a shame. But if you remember me mentioning about me killing 17 skeletons out of the 30, if you're feeling particularly astute, you'll note that he needs to roll very, very low not to completely get wiped out. In fact, I don't think it was even at all possible, and he pops. Every single skeleton gets removed, and that pushes him over the threshold of death. At the end of turn 1, we have a victory for the Legions of Nurgle, which is absolutely hilarious. I've never had a game that was such a short, in terms of turns, but so close and so tense. I absolutely love that battle plan, and I really hope to play it more because it's just so much fun and so intense. It's great. So yeah, there you go. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for another battle report. Cheers, guys.